streets. And you know they call me phone with a nigga talk shit, bitch. I'm at your front door.
With the liquor YouTube. Shit, I can't call it. Welcome back to another episode on the new. If you're new to the channel, we talk about jail, prison, boot camp, my experience, other people's experience, the stories in there, everything, you know what I'm saying? So if that's what you into, and you new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button, you know what I'm saying? It don't cost shit. Just show some love, that's all I'm asking, you know what I'm saying? But I ain't did a video in a minute, but I can say, you know what I'm saying, I done upgraded, you feel me? I got a new PC, doing gaming, all type of shit, dropped a little bread on it, you feel me? But shit, today, I'm doing a little reaction video on, you know what I'm saying, the craziest reactions to people, motherfuckers getting life after they did what they did, you feel me? Like I said, if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button, hit that post notification button so you can get alerted to when I do drop videos, you know what I'm saying? I got everything I need now, you know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna be dropping, you know what I'm saying? I just had to get situated, everything situated. I had to get my money up real quick, had to buy the shit I need, you know what I'm saying? But I ain't gonna bore y'all with all that shit, but yeah, like I said, I'm back down like Smackdown in this bitch. Doing reaction videos, interviews, all that shit. I'm grinding this whole year, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, I mean, that's what motherfuckers gonna be doing, you know what I'm saying? It's my first video, I think, in a couple months, but I mean, we gonna see how this shit rock, you feel me? You good, babe? We gonna see how this shit rock though, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, shit, let's see what these videos got going on. I mean, some of the reactions, I don't get why motherfuckers be doing it when you know, you feel me, you know what you did, you know what that shit holds, you know what I'm saying? And then when you get that time, now you wanna, you know what I'm saying, tuck your tail and get to crying and shit, you can't do that, you feel me? I knew a lot of niggas in the joint that was like that, you know what I'm saying? They bitching about their time, but nigga, you knew before you went to go ride this motherfucker that it could have been a class X, you feel me? So we just about to see these reactions, see what motherfuckers doing. As you can see on this nigga wearing a motherfucking hockey mask or something. I don't know what the fuck. That nigga look like crazy than a motherfucker. His ass look like he be in a green suit all day. And motherfucker don't know what that green suit, that's that turtle suit. You know what I'm saying? That turtle joint. They strip your ass naked and put you in a padded suit. You feel me? Funny as hell. But look, alright, shit, we about to get back into this video, shit. I'm gonna try not to pause it a lot so y'all can see the shit, but if I see some stupid shit, I'm gonna talk on that shit. I'm gonna speak on that shit, you feel me? But yeah, without further ado, shit, let's see what this motherfucker rocking with. Let's see.
That you're gonna spend the rest of your life in prison is a lot to take in, regardless of the crime you committed.
That nigga look like, nah, bitch, don't cry now.
Just when you think you know how people will react to such a sentence, they go and surprise you. From a
And that's one thing, alright, look, I ain't gonna keep, this is the first time I stopped and I ain't gonna keep doing it though, but that's the thing though, I just don't get what you crying for. Cause you got life in prison now? Because you just killed a couple motherfuckers, now you lying, I mean crying cause you got life in prison? Come on now, Joe, that shit don't even, right is right and wrong is wrong, you feel me? I don't wish jail or prison upon my worst enemy, but motherfuckers like, you knew what the fuck was going on. You knew what holds, you know what I'm saying? Like, you knew if you did this what could have happened. You know what I'm saying? And you didn't get away with it, you feel me? But I don't know, I never got that shit though. I was, like I said, I was in a joint with a lot of niggas that was bitching about their time and this nigga got 5 years, but we in the bullpen with a lifer, you feel me? And he like, shorty, what the fuck you bitching about 5 years, nigga? I get my left leg, you feel me, to get 5 years. I'm damn old school. When you get about this bitch, he shit, man, when they throw dirt on my grave, damn, that really had me like, it's fucked up, you feel me? Like, motherfucker ain't gonna never see it, you know what I'm saying? Motherfucker ain't gonna never be out them walls, you feel me? But That's what comes with it. I tell my kids, you can ask any of my kids right now, and I tell them, 30 seconds to change your whole life. You feel me? I tell my oldest son this all the time, so he ain't out there doing no stupid shit. And if you want to do some stupid shit, nigga, have me in the back of your head, like, you know what I'm saying? Cause 30 seconds to change your life. You feel me? You can do something. 30 seconds. That 30 seconds that you just changed your whole life. Now you running from the police. Now you got warrants. Now you got this. You know what I'm saying? That's why I told my son, you want to do this NBA? You want to go to the NBA? All that ripping and running, that shit's dead. You feel me? Hit them books. You know what I'm saying? Hit them books and do them sports. You know what I'm saying? My dumb ass, I wasn't even trying to listen to none of that. You feel me? I hit the porch. I jumped off the porch early. You feel me? I had my first son at like 15. 4. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not condoning it. You know what I'm saying? But that was reality. That's what it was. You feel me? But that's why I'm so hard on my kids now, because I don't want them going through the shit that I've been through. I don't want them seeing the shit that I had to see in the joint, you know what I'm saying, or in and out the county, and you know what I'm saying. I ain't trying to do. I don't want them to go through none of that shit. You feel me? So if I gotta stay on their ass, then that's what I'm gonna do. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna stay on their ass, cause I be damn. That's my worst fear, is hearing or me knowing that one of my kids gotta go do some time. You feel me? That's just one of my, and this shit might sound crazy, but I used to think that, you know what I'm saying, if my son, like if my son ended up going to jail, what's wrong, babe? What you mean? If my son ended up going to jail, then I would do something to end up in there with him. I know it sound crazy. I know it sound crazy. My wife always like, what did you talk? I know it sound crazy, but that's how much I love my kids, though. You know what I'm saying? That's how much I love my kids, that I would do something just to be in there with them. You know what I'm saying? So I can make sure everything's straight. You feel me? I know it's kind of crazy to think about, and I know other motherfuckers like, what? Hell no. Ooh. I love my kids. I will kill and I will die for my kids. You feel me? And my wife, my family. I'll do an L behind that. You feel me? So. Alright, but let me get back to the video. Right back to the script, because it's a major lick. You feel me? That I just play. But now let me get back to this shit, though. This nigga laughing and shit. That's
Laughing killer to one that yelled at a judge. Here are 20 craziest reactions of convicts given a life sentence.
Got that L. For that L, that L ain't no joke.
Number 20. Esteban Carpio. Boston, Massachusetts convicted prison inmate Esteban was sentenced to life in prison without parole for the murder of a policeman in 2005. When Providence police were questioning him for stabbing an 85-year-old woman, a detective had left the room to get a drink of water for Esteban. This left him alone in the room with Police Detective Sergeant James L. Allen. Once the detective had left the room, Esteban grabbed James's gun and shot him twice, resulting in his death. Esteban then jumped out the third-floor interview room window before...
That's why his motherfucking face looked like that. Now I know, okay. You whacked a 12. You feel me? You whacked one of their ass in. And they fell off to probably beat the dog shit out you too. That's fucked up, though. But shit, like I said, that's what comes with that shit, though.
Or being caught less than an hour later. Incredibly, Esteban was brought to his arraignment wearing a mask that was designed to stop offenders from biting or spitting on people. He also had red eyes, cheeks, and a red forehead, along with swelling around his forehead and cranial region.
Every day, I face the facts of what I did and what happened.
It wasn't so much his crazy reaction that shocked people, but that of his family. When he was sentenced to life in prison, his family screamed and yelled about police brutality. An FBI investigation concluded that excessive force had not been used given the circumstances, and that his injuries were sustained when he jumped from the third floor of the building and during his struggle with law enforcement.
Hold on, so you telling me his eyes puffy as hell, face all fucked up, because this nigga jumped out the window. What, he laying on his face? Fuck is you talking about? Hell no, 12 beat his motherfucking ass, fo. They put paws on that nigga, like real shit.
Number 19. Anthony Rodriguez. Anthony Rodriguez, who had just turned 18, was on parole when he robbed, kidnapped, and sexually assaulted a 25-year-old woman in Martin Luther King Jr. Park, dragging her 105 feet into a bathroom. Anthony had previous arrests for violence, but this appeared to be his first for sexual.
Yo, I got no respect for chomos, rapists, motherfuckers that fuck with old people. And if you ain't ever been to the joint before, motherfuckers don't take that shit kindly. Cause motherfuckers look at that, could have been my grandma, that could have been my daughter, that could have been my, you know what I'm saying, anything, you know what I'm saying. So niggas that go to the joint for chomo shit and fucking with old people and rape and all this other shit, they prison time don't be sweet. You feel me? Because like I said, motherfuckers be like, shit, that could have been my peoples. You feel me? And what if it was one of their daughters? You know what I'm saying? This man drug up. Yo, I don't condone that shit. You know what I'm saying? That nigga deserve what the fuck he get. You feel me? Because at the end of the day, a child is innocent. You feel me? Child is innocent. Innocent as they can be. You feel me? And for a motherfucker to take advantage of it, you know what I'm saying? That shit. Yeah, he deserved that L. He deserved that motherfucking L.
Assault. According to reports, Anthony had been quiet throughout the entire ordeal, but that soon changed when the judge sentenced him to 25 years to life. He started directly talking to the judge with tears in his eyes, yelled profanities, and called the ruling unfair. He had to be forced to sit down.
Nigga know what's unfair.
Anthony clearly
is
wasn't happy with the outcome of the trial, and neither was his family. Afterward, his mother said that he didn't deserve life in prison and that something was wrong for him to receive such a heavy sentence. Anthony wasn't the first person to be arrested for the same crime. Previously, Mike Zarate Jacobo was under arrest on suspicion of rape and stayed in a downtown jail for 35 days until DNA evidence cleared him. That DNA evidence instead linked 18-year-old Anthony Rodriguez to the crime.
Don't cry now, nigga.
Number 18. Jaleel Smith.
Don't cry now, nigga. You weren't crying when you was raping that little girl, you feel me? You weren't doing none of that. You want motherfuckers to have sympathy for you? Nigga, you's a bitch, nigga. Like, straight up. Like, motherfuckers ain't, nigga, you's a straight bitch. Motherfucker raping, look, you gonna drag up. Joe, I don't even see niggas like this, Joe. That's I can't even tell you, man, Joe. I was in a joint. I seen so many motherfuckers that was, bro, getting their ass beat the fuck up. You feel me? Getting killed, all type of shit. You feel me? For shit like this, boy, your ass.
Smith Riley. Jaleel Smith Riley was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole in 2016 for shooting and killing Portia Brooks and severely injuring her boyfriend, Aaron Martin, during a robbery. Portia and Aaron were sitting in a parked car in Norwood when Jaleel approached the vehicle with two others and ordered Aaron to get out. When Jaleel discovered that he had nothing of value to take, he shot him in the head before leading into the vehicle and shooting Portia as well. A Crime Stoppers tip led the police to Jaleel, who was charged.
Okay, look, like I said, I ain't gonna keep stopping it, but I gotta say something about this. Bro, don't cry now. You feel me? Nigga, you had a chance, low key though, if you think about it. My motherfucker had a chance to be like, you know what, I'm gone. You found out this nigga ain't had shit on him, you found out she ain't had shit on you. What's the point of killing him? You feel me? Your intentions was to rob. Your intentions was to take their shit. They didn't have shit. You know what I'm saying? So don't sit up here and cry about a motherfucking L that you gotta take that L. You feel me? How you think they family feel? They lost their life over shit, over nothing, over the nigga. Not even they lost their life for no reason. You feel me? And now you want to sit up here and cry because they about to give you an L. Nigga, take that L like a real nigga. You feel me? Take that L. You like I said, it's consequence to every action. You feel me? And I tell my kids that too. It's consequence to every action. If you want to be out here ripping and running the streets, gang banging, shooting guns, doing all this shit, then it's consequences that come with that. You feel me? And I tell my kids that, like I said, you can ask my oldest son right now. I'll be like, JJ, it's consequence to what? Every action. Or I'll be like, as soon as he about to go do something, I'll be like, now Jay, I know that 30 seconds will change your whole life. You better listen to it. You better keep that in the back of your head. You feel me? Because there's niggas out here that wish they would have heard a nigga like me telling them to fall the fuck back. You feel me? But like I said, man, there's consequence to every action. Don't cry now. You feel me? You a man, right? Stand on yours. Fall.
Charged with aggravated murder, attempted murder, aggravated robbery, and 2 counts of felonious assault. To avoid the death penalty,
nigga, they hit you with a
guilty
robbery
and faced a
and you ain't
sentence
even
of
take
life
shit.
without parole. When he was sitting in the gallery, Portia's family spoke to the court and Jaleel. Jaleel then had to try and convince the court that he deserved leniency. He started crying in court with tears rolling down his face. He said, "I just want to come home one day." His attorney stepped in and said Jaleel was someone who felt genuine remorse and thought about what he did every day. He said he couldn't undo what he did. The judge had the final word and sentenced Jaleel to life without parole. As soon as those words came out of his mouth, Jaleel fell to the floor crying.
Get your ass up.
Number 17. Danta Wright. When someone tells you that they've lost their only child, their son, their baby, and their friend, it's only natural for you to feel sadness. You might also feel a great deal of remorse if you're the reason why someone isn't alive. But when a victim impact statement was read out to the court and the person responsible for murdering 18-year-old Jordan Clee, the court was in shock. The defendant, 17-year-old Danta Wright, who was sentenced to 23 to 50 years in prison, smiled and nearly laughed. When his lawyer attempted to say that his client said it was never his intention to injure, Danta interrupted him to address the court himself. You might think that at this point he might express remorse from the heart, but that is not what happened at all. Instead, he smiled as he said, "I just want to tell y'all I'll be home soon. I love my family."
I tell y'all I'll be home soon. R.I.P. Keon, I love my family.
This definitely wasn't well received by most people in the court.
Now, I guess I can say, little homie, he stood on his. You feel me? He ain't crying. You feel me? He know what the fuck he did. He looked. I ain't trying to hear none of that. Look, I'll be home soon. I love my family and all my peoples who are at the band. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he took that shit like a man, though. I ain't even gonna lie. I don't know what the fuck he did. I think he killed a couple motherfuckers, but still, same token, he ain't crying how dude was. You feel me? And so it's just shit. Different strokes, different folks, I guess. You feel me? Shit. Cause that nigga said he coming home. He said, "Rest in peace to guys. I'll be home soon." Man.
The judge asked prosecutors if the sentencing agreement was too merciful. He followed up by saying that watching Danta sit there, smiling, laughing, and shaking his head like it was no big deal, he was tempted to say he wasn't going to accept the sentencing agreement and take the case to trial. If convicted of felony murder, that would mean Danta would be in prison for the rest of his life. That means you'll die there. That's what I'm tempted to do, the judge said. Number 16. Insane acting man. When a man was charged with possession of a weapon during a violent crime, along with murder, he acted in a way that surely made the people around him think he was gonna crack at any minute. Not only was he clenching his fist, but he was also making strange sounds, shaking his head, and standing before the judge with his teeth bared for the entire time that she was describing how things were gonna play out. The judge also tried to ask the man questions, but he wouldn't answer all of them consistently.
Can you answer my questions?
When she asked whether he'd like to be screened for a court-appointed lawyer or whether he could hire his own, he didn't answer immediately. He then proceeded to ask the judge whether he looked like he could afford one, and then said he didn't need one. It's not known what the outcome of this case was, but even during the early stages of his case, his reactions were absolutely terrifying. When the video was uploaded to the internet, many people were quick to point out that the man was likely trying to act insane so that he could enter an insanity plea.
Yeah, that's
Not
what
sure of the
doing.
case's outcome, but you're surely interested to know whether he managed to keep up this look. Number 15. Jacob Matthew Morgan. In 2015, a 14-month-old baby died in a house fire while at home with his 17-year-old brother, Jacob Morgan, of Rock Hill, South Carolina. Jacob was initially charged with murder and pleaded guilty to the crime in October 2021. He was charged with involuntary manslaughter, unlawful conduct towards a child, and third-degree arson after setting his home on fire and willfully killing his brother, Joshua Alexander Hill. The court stated that Jacob set 2 fires, exited the home, and left his brother inside to die. Jacob hasn't given formal statements about how the fire started, but later said he lit a pillow on fire and threw it in the air. Authorities think 2 sets of fires were started, one in the master bedroom where the baby was asleep, and another in the living room. In a probable cause hearing, Jacob cried, pleaded, and prayed with absolute terror in his eyes before he was charged with arson and murder connected to his brother. He was then led out of the courtroom crying.
Don't cry.
Jacob was
Shut your
charged
bitch ass
for the
up,
killing
nigga.
of Joshua Hill,
Take that
and he would
L,
be sentenced
nigga.
to 15 years in prison. His
Nigga,
mother,
you gon-
Julie Hill, said Jacob has developmental issues and loved his little brother. Number
How?
14. Lukachi Kendall. Lukachi Kendall was working as a security guard for a strip club where Kewan Bird and his friend Michael Smathers had gone for a night out. They decided to exit the club, sit in Michael's car for a while, and then return to the club minutes later. Lukachi parked next to Kewan and Michael and started dressing for his job, which included putting on a vest, gloves, baton, knife, gun, and ammunition. All 3 men made visual contact before Lukachi retreated to the club. As Kewan and Michael got out of the car to go back into the club, Lukachi opened fire, shooting Kewan in the back 8 times, killing him. Michael was left paralyzed from the waist down. In court, when Lukachi alleges insanity and requests to be put in a mental institution rather than prison, Kewan's father starts yelling at Lukachi, screaming that he murdered his son for nothing.
You don't need to be laying no mental hospital. He need to go to prison, man.
Security guards and family tried to calm Kewan's father, but he had to be dragged out of the courtroom.
And it's fucked up though. You feel me? Because a motherfucker do a crime. You know what I'm saying? Now you want to try to get insanity plea and shit, nigga. You dumb as hell. And wonder how, you know what I'm saying? Look how the father, like, you feel me? Like, nah, that nigga don't belong in no mental hospital. That nigga belong in prison. You feel me? Ain't nothing wrong with this nigga. You can look at this nigga and tell. Ain't nothing wrong with this nigga. Fuck around, man. Hell nah. The pop's in the right. You know what I'm saying? See, if it was me, I'm jumping across some. I know there's videos out here like that, but me, motherfuckers don't even know. I already some shit like that happened. What? You can't bring no weapon in that bitch, but you know what you can do? Bring some soap. Fuck you talking about? Put that bitch in your sock. Go to the bathroom. Put that bitch in your sock and get to work on the motherfucker. Yeah, it's ways motherfuckers can get around shit. You feel me? Like real shit. Think about that shit.
During the trial, Lukachi didn't present any evidence, didn't testify, and didn't accept court-appointed standby counsel. He was convicted of second-degree murder and attempted murder and was sentenced to life in prison.
Book 'em.
Number 13. Kayla Mendoza. Kayla Mendoza is known for having tweeted "too drunk to care" before being involved in a wrong-way collision on the South Florida Expressway while intoxicated. She took the lives of 2 women and was sentenced to 24 years in prison.
Damn.
Kayla cried and showed remorse throughout her entire trial and was sentenced in 2014 for her crime.
No matter how much time passes, I'm gonna live with that in my heart every day that I took her.
However, Kayla was soon on a mission to have her sentence reduced to just 10 years after writing an apologetic letter to the judge who had sentenced her. Kayla said she wanted to be out of prison so that she could be involved in Mothers Against Drunk Driving. She also wanted to help save lives, even though she couldn't bring back the lives she took. Kayla also said she didn't want another family to be broken like the families that were broken because of her. Kayla wrote that she planned to take substance abuse classes and is open to probation. She also wanted to
got a lot of time to do that.
restitution, court costs, and money owed in a civil lawsuit. Judge Hames said prosecutors would respond to Kayla's request within 90 days, and the families of the 2 women killed planned on making their feelings known. Number 12. Ryan Stone. Ryan Stone was sentenced to 160 years in prison for taking officers on a lengthy chase in 2014. He was convicted of several charges, such as attempted manslaughter, child abuse, and car theft during a 90-minute car chase. Ryan stole a car outside a gas station with a 4-year-old inside before crashing it into a van. He dragged the van driver out by her legs before stealing it and hitting a state trooper who was laying a tire deflating device, resulting in a broken leg. He struck several more cars before being arrested. In jail, Ryan was videoed bragging about mimicking a video game to a female visitor. He also talked about the potential to profit from the chase video and getting paid by YouTube. His boastful behavior was in direct contrast to how he looked and acted when he was being sentenced to his crimes in the first place. He blamed drugs, acted tearfully, and asked the judge to please give him a break. Ryan and his family said he struggled with drug addiction and that his meth use left him with very little memory of the chase. The goal was for the court to see him as troubled rather than violent, but the judge didn't give him a break, and a Douglas County jury convicted Ryan of 18 charges that would see him spend 160 years or the rest of his life in prison. Number 11. Jordan.
Joe, this nigga got damn near life and he ain't even kill nobody. Fucking fine. My fault, YouTube. But yeah, Joe, he ain't even kill nobody. And this nigga got 100-something years. But same token though, once you found out there was a shorty in that car, you feel me? Cause I know the mama was probably like screaming like, no, my baby, my baby, my baby, my baby. Motherfucking fly better go on for a while. But yeah, I'm knowing the mama was screaming, you feel me? Like, my baby, you know what I'm saying? I would've looked back like, fuck. Hopped out that bitch and got into another one, you feel me? Like, nigga, you took... I tell you, Joe, niggas.
Jordan Fuss. Jordan Fuss was 19 years old when he reached speeds of over 90 miles an hour in his 2004 Infiniti G35 before crashing it into another vehicle carrying the Giraldo family. That accident resulted in the death of a 6-year-old boy after the Giraldo family's car was split in half. Jordan was found to have a blood alcohol content of 0.21, which is far more than the state legal limit of 0.08. While Jordan was being sentenced for his crimes, he was visibly shaking and crying. The attorney argued for a reduced sentence and said his client was remorseful and had considered suicide. He also told the Giraldo family that he was sorry and that he wished it was him that died, not their son.
They always say that shit.
Jordan did appear genuinely remorseful throughout, and even said he would give his life if it meant bringing his back. However, Jordan also admitted to smoking marijuana and using alcohol since the crash. He was subsequently sentenced to 14 years in prison, with prosecutors seeking the maximum sentence of 15 years. When he was being fingerprinted after the sentencing, he tearfully said, "I love you so much," to his mother, father, brother, and the girlfriend he met online after the crash. Number 10. Eric Pendland. Child abuse is a horrific crime, and that's certainly one word of many to describe the actions of Eric Pendland. When Eric's son was 3 months old, he was shaken so violently that he became permanently disabled. He suffered a broken neck, traumatic brain damage, hearing impairment, and almost complete blindness. He was also unable to hold his own head up. According to Sharon Lawson and her husband, who were fostering Eric, eventually adopted him, and had been involved in the care of disabled and abused children for many years, the baby would always rely on people to bathe, dress, change, and feed him, along with administering pain medication. Maximum charges were sought because Eric had a prior record of robbery and a federal firearms charge. Prosecutors got their wish, and Eric was handed the maximum sentence for his crimes, even though he said he was innocent. As he was led out of the courtroom after being sentenced to 11 years, he shook his head and had an outburst that involved swearing at the judge and saying he hadn't done anything wrong. Number 9. Antonio Barbeau.
This nigga look young as
Antonio
fuck.
Barbeau, 14 years old, and his friend Nathan Papp visited the home of Antonio's 78-year-old great-grandmother in Sheboygan, Wisconsin, and she invited them inside. Once she had her back turned to call Antonio's mother, Antonio hit her on the head with a hatchet. Antonio then said he ran to the bathroom as he was feeling sick, but saw his friend hitting her multiple times with a hammer. His grandmother died from her injuries. He would spend at least 36 years behind bars for his crimes and would be eligible for parole by around 50 years old. During the trial, Antonio showed a wide range of emotions. He would wipe away tears at times, and he even smirked and shook his head when the prosecutor spoke.
Your grandma, sister, friend.
Shit ain't funny now, huh?
He pleaded no contest and was convicted of killing his great-grandmother. He broke down and sobbed when he was sentenced and tried to read an apologetic statement. However, he started crying while reading it, and his defense attorney had to read it. He, too, was on the brink of tears as he read it. The judge said that the sentence was the minimum based on the crime, and that the crime was nothing short of horrific. According to the judge, he had not seen anything of this nature, not even close, in his 24 years on the bench. Number 8. Jeffrey McDonald. Jeffrey McDonald beat his girlfriend Melissa Johnson to death in their home in Dongan Hills. He then propped her against a bed with severe blunt impact injuries to the head, neck, and extremities before taking a photo of her in this position, likely after she was already dead. For his horrific crimes, and even after finally apologizing to Alyssa's family, he was sentenced to 12 years in jail. While his crying in court may have looked convincing to some, it wasn't to the judge. Judge Mario F. Matei said he wasn't impressed by Jeffrey's expression of sorrow.
His ass need to be crying about that motherfucking hairline he got. That motherfucker. This shit like, no, you'll never mind. That nigga said Leonardo for snatching. That nigga. So that nigga forehead. He said, you don't have dreams, you have movies, motherfucker. Hell nah, Joe. Man,
And said he didn't need any crocodile tears in front of him. He also said that Jeffrey was a coward for beating up a 107-pound defenseless woman. Your lack of compassion is palpable. You don't have an ounce of decency in your body, he said. Jeffrey said he was sorry for the pain he had caused and said Alyssa was the love of his life. As he was led to a holding cell through a side door, a woman said, "Hold your head, bro," while another said, "You're a demon." Number 7. Manson Bryant. Manson Bryant from Lake County was no stranger to the court system or prison. He had appeared before Judge Eugene Lucci's bench at least 3 or 4 times and has a criminal history dating back to 1999 as a juvenile. The last time this judge sentenced him to a crime was for 4 years, but this time he was in court for a violent home invasion and robbery while he was on parole. The maximum prison sentence for his crime was 30 years, but the judge sentenced him to 22 years after he felt Manson showed some remorse. Although he quickly realized that the remorse he supposedly showed might have been an act. Judge Lucci said the last time he sentenced Manson, he acted out briefly, but not like this. He went on a tirade swearing at the judge until Judge Lucci had enough. He added 6 years onto his sentence, bringing the total to 28 years. Manson was then forcibly removed from the courtroom by Lake County Sheriff's Office deputies.
22 years?
His attorney, Daniel Williams, said sentencing hearings could be emotional, and Manson had an emotional and regrettable reaction. He said that Manson was otherwise composed throughout the entire trial, even as the verdict was rendered. They intended to appeal the ruling and sentence. Number 6. Tony Farmer. Some people get angry when they're sentenced to prison. Others cry, scream, and swear. Ohio high school basketball star 18-year-old Tony Farmer collapsed. he melted onto the floor and, once standing upright with the help of a sheriff's deputy, continued to look in absolute
His ass ain't look like that when he was beating that female up, though. You feel me? Now you want to look all y'all niggas.
disbelief as he was sentenced to 3 years in prison in 2012.
That nigga said, oh man.
Tony Farmer, who is 6 feet 7 inches tall and ranks among the top high school basketball players in the country, had a bright future ahead of him after
not
being
no more.
by
Fuck
several
you talking
major
about.
colleges.
Not
However,
no more.
He stood before the court
Look.
accused of kidnapping, assaulting, and threatening his ex-girlfriend, Andrea Lane. He pleaded guilty to all charges and was released in 2015. Following his release, Tony wanted to enroll in Lincoln College but was refused admission, so he signed on to play basketball with Lee College, a Baytown, Texas community college. After his sophomore year, he became a professional basketball player and put his name in for the 2017 NBA draft, where U.S. college basketball players were selected for NBA teams. He was ultimately not successful. In 2020, police in Louisiana issued a warrant for Tony's arrest on felony domestic abuse battery. Number 5. Erica Mae Butts and Shanita Latrice Cunningham. Somerville, South Carolina couple Erica Butts and Shanita Cunningham received sentences of life in prison for killing a 3-year-old girl, Serenity Richardson. Serenity had been visiting Erica and Shanita, who were her godmother and mother's best friend, at their home in Somerville. This was where the abuse took place. Both Erica and Shanita beat her with plastic coat hangers and a belt. The only part of her body that wasn't harmed were the soles of her feet. When the two women learned they would be spending the rest of their lives in jail, they both collapsed, wailed, and hyperventilated in the courtroom. The entire scene was incredibly dramatic. Court officials had to pick both women up off the floor, and they were held in chairs before being wheeled out of the room. A clerk was heard asking if any EMTs were present in the building, while others tried to get Erica to slow down her breathing. Erica's mother also had to be thrown out of the courtroom by 3 staff members when she began shouting at her daughter to get up and started screaming that she couldn't leave her baby like this. The mother's cries rang out across the courtroom,
about the little girl,
trumping
though?
the reactions of even the 2 women being sentenced. Number 4. Adrian Dunn. Ex-con Adrian Dunn was sentenced to life in prison for the murder of 24-year-old Raken Tariq Charles. Raken was shot in the back in an apartment complex parking lot during a supposed drug deal. During the closing arguments, prosecutors referred to Adrian's already extensive criminal record. They said he's been to prison twice for possessing a firearm even after the murder of Raken. He had also committed...
I know this video long as hell, y'all. My fault. You know what I'm saying? But if you haven't, subscribe to the channel, man. Hit that post notification button. Put a thumbs up. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I'm back down like SmackDown. All my videos ain't gonna be as long. It's just this motherfucking reaction video is long as fuck. But hang in there with me, y'all. It's almost done.
Another shooting before the murder and has shown zero remorse. While prosecutor Jason Goss held the hand of Raken's mother, he asked the jury for a life sentence for Adrian's crimes. He said the Charles family had to suffer because of the defendant, but Adrian's lawyer said 34 to 40 years would be more appropriate so that he had a chance of getting out and being an asset to the community. Even if the jury had taken that statement on board, it didn't make any difference, as he was sentenced to life after deliberating for 2 hours. When the sentence was handed down, Adrian had an outburst and wrestled with deputies as they tried to escort him from the courtroom.
At that point, you might as well be swinging on motherfuckers.
Michael Madison. Michael Madison had an abusive and chaotic childhood, but that wasn't enough to convince the jury not to sentence him to death for multiple counts of aggravated murder and kidnapping. Michael killed 3 people and wrapped their bodies in garbage bags. One of those victims was Sherelda Terry, whose father was giving a victim impact statement in the courtroom. When her father walked to the front of the courtroom to give his statement, he turned towards Michael, who was just a few feet away, and Michael smiled at him maliciously. That was enough for Sherelda's father to run at Michael, throw himself across the desk, and try to get at him. Sheriff's deputies swarmed at him while a woman could be heard screaming, "No, no, no!" in the background.
That nigga dove. That nigga
A
dope.
15-minute delay followed, but the hearing continued. Michael received the death sentence, and the judge said life in prison wasn't an option based on the horrific nature of his crimes. Prosecutor Tim McGinty said the death penalty was for criminals like Michael, who are the worst of the worst. Michael didn't make any statements during his hearing, only to answer the judge's questions. Number 2. Kyandria Cook. Kyandria was 18 years old when she was sentenced to 20 years in state prison. She had used a dating app to set up a robbery that caused another teenager to be shot. Circuit Judge Matthew Foxman read out the sentence that included 20 years for a carjacking charge, 15 years for attempted carjacking with a deadly weapon, and 15 years for a battery felony. All 3 sentences were to be served concurrently. Kyandria's mother immediately started crying and wailing when the sentence was read out.
Don't cry now, bitch.
She dropped to the floor in her seat and had to be consoled by those around her. Kyandria's mother's reaction was enough to make Kyandria cry, and she pleaded with the judge. All the commotion and noise made it necessary for the judge to restate his sentence before Kyandria was eventually led from the room, crying. According to online news sources, Kyandria and her boyfriend had lured Perry Nita to South Daytona so that they could buy cannabis and sleep with him. Nita had a 17-year-old with him, Emmanuel Purcell. Kyandria got into his car, got back out again to go get money, and her boyfriend, Kendrick Bass, got in the back seat wearing a mask. Emmanuel pushed Kendrick out of the car, and Kendrick shot him in the stomach. Fortunately, he survived. 2 months after the 20-year sentence was given, Kyandria was able to withdraw her no contest plea, and her initial sentence was changed. This was due to a miscommunication with her previous attorney. Later, she was given an 11-year prison sentence with 20 years of probation that would run with her prison term. Number 1. Franklin Williams. 32-year-old Franklin Williams was accused of 3 armed robberies in the Cuyahoga County Common Pleas Court. Franklin wouldn't stop talking during the sentencing hearing, even after Judge John Russo had given him several warnings over a half-hour period.
I'm the judge in the matter. Shut your mouth, and I'll tell you when you can talk. You got it?
But it wasn't just the judge he was talking over, he was also interrupting his own attorneys, which certainly didn't seem to be helping his case. The situation got so bad that the judge ordered for Franklin's mouth to be taped shut. So that is exactly what happened.
I don't even know if that's legal. He was made to sit down,
and red tape was put over his mouth to stop him from talking, although it didn't have the desired effect, and he was still able to speak. This situation is bizarre, and the world thought so as well. When the video of this happening went viral, the Cleveland judge apologized and recused himself from the case. The judge said that as a judge and a lawyer, he had spent his career with the bench, public, bar associations, and community groups promoting confidence in the justice system. He said he was concerned that this particular hearing eroded some of that trust. The judge also said that, in retrospect, even though there is a legal precedent for gagging a defendant to maintain order in a courtroom, he apologized for taking that action. Some of these reactions were pretty typical, like crying as the realization hits them, but some were down.
Alright, y'all, that's the end of the video. I know it was a long one, you know what I'm saying, but shit, what way to start off me, you know what I'm saying, getting back down like SmackDown in this bitch, you know what I'm saying, but I hope y'all like the, you know what I'm saying, I hope y'all like the video and shit, you know what I'm saying, if you don't, fuck you. If you do, I'm rocking with you, you feel me, but I might do another little something today though, but I mean, shit. Moral of the story is, shit, don't do the crime if, shit, you can't do the time. That's basically what the story is, you know what I'm saying? Don't do something if you scared of the consequence that come behind that shit, you feel me? But shit, it's a wrap. It's your boy Fo, you know what I'm saying? And shit, I hope y'all like the video. Like I said too, I got me a whole new monitor, all type of shit though. So, and I'm gonna be doing some twitching, you know what I'm saying? All type of shit, bro. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, shit. I'm going ahead and close out this bitch. You know what I'm saying? It's Fo to the world blow.